a member of the Merrick Jewish Center Board of Directors, and I was a chair of the Hebrew School for many years, and I can't separate myself, so I am still involved. I do want to let you know that I will be moderating tonight's meeting, and we have muted everybody except for our speakers tonight. And we will also be recording the meeting because we want to be able to put it on our Merrick Jewish Center YouTube channel for those parents that were unable to make it tonight. You will be hearing, of course, from our Director of Education, Helena Eilenberg, as well as Rabbis Klein and Derma. And also joining us tonight is Howard Teagle. You want to wave, Howard? He's the president of our synagogue, and Sandra Wegman, who is now on my screen. They're bookending me, but of course doesn't look like that for anyone else. She's the chair of our school board. And we have various board members and school board members joining us tonight. We're going to ask that you add any questions you have throughout the presentation to the chat. Sandra is co-hosting with me, so apparently it's going to allow you to send questions to either Sandra or to Rena, but we're going to ask that you send them to Rena so that we can, I'll be able to ask those questions after the presentation. If Sandra gets any, she will forward them to me, but please feel free to enter them into chat during the presentation so that we can answer as many questions as we can as soon as the presentation is over. And I'm going to introduce Rabbi Klein to start.
Thank you, Rena. And I want to thank everybody. Oh, please. Thank you, Lawrence. Was that for Rena or me? Okay.
You get applause.
I want to thank Lawrence for the applause, and I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Look, my dear friends, we are all tired. We are all feeling, after all these months, the stress flowing down over all of us, enveloping all of us, and there's great uncertainty that envelops our world. And in the midst of this global pandemic, we have to focus on Hebrew school. We have to focus on the Jewish education of your children, because I think you know that for us it is our most sacred and important task, and that's the way we see it. Let me just begin by thanking Mora Helena and our faculty. When I say that they have spent countless hours over this summer preparing for whatever this school year would bring, that would be an understatement. Mora Helena has worked with our teachers day after day. They've all devoted themselves every day this summer to planning, to working, to focusing on curriculum development, curriculum options. And our school, I hope and pray, will benefit, and I'm sure it will, from all the hours that they put into planning for this year's. I just want to say that, you know, Mora Helena is, to me, a great blessing to our community. She's been with us a long time, and she is as energetic, as passionate about Jewish education today as she was when she joined, perhaps even more so. And I know that the trajectory, the upward trajectory of our school, which has really been a tribute to her, is not going to be stopped by some pandemic. So that's our pledge and our promise. I want to speak to you tonight about a Jewish principle, which has always been the most important principle of Jewish law, and has always been, in our view, uppermost as we've planned for these months, as we face these months. The concept is called, in Jewish law, sakanat nefashot. A Jewish institution does not have any permissibility to do anything that would potentially endanger the life of anyone. We don't have that right. We don't have that option. If you want to know the greatest concern of Jewish law, it is preserving life. Sakanat nefashot. And we build a whole structure of Jewish law around that. And so, as long as we face this pandemic, all of the programming we've done, and we've been very busy, everything we've done has been mindful of our responsibility to make sure we do nothing to endanger the life of anyone. Not a child, not a teacher, not a member of our congregation, not anyone who works in the synagogue. So tonight, Mora Helena is going to present a plan that has been approved, a plan for the opening weeks of school. The plan has been created in consultation with the school board, and I want to thank Sandra Wegman, our school board chair, who has also spent most of this summer focused on this issue, realizing that this is paramount to you as it is to us, and the leadership of our synagogue, of our congregation, which has been just focused again on this issue and every issue concerning our reopening. My friends, know that I miss walking the halls and hearing the children in the classrooms. I miss walking the halls and peeking in and seeing the teachers with the kids. I miss sitting in my study next to the sanctuary and hearing the kids in prayer. I miss all of that more than you will ever, ever understand. But I do know that ultimately, the most powerful principle I am accountable for, and this institution is accountable for, this synagogue is accountable for, is to make certain that we have done everything to abide by the rules of Sakanat Nefashot, that every life is precious, every life is a world, and every life is entrusted to us to be cared for. So tonight I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here, for listening to this plan. It's the plan for opening. It's not the plan for the entirety of the year. It's the plan for how we intend to open our school. I hope that we will have your support. I hope we will have your encouragement. I hope that we will have you with us. This school is too precious. This synagogue is too important for the Merrick Belmore community. We cannot allow this to be a year in which anything that we've ever done before for the Merrick Jewish Center becomes diminished in our eyes or less important. I want to conclude just with a message of hope. It's Rosh Chodesh. Tonight we begin a new month, the new month of a special month, the month of Elul. It's the month that leads us up to Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi Derma and I are beginning to get an extra measure of stress because we have to get everything ready for the high holidays, and it's not easy, I assure you. It's an agony every single day for us. But we do it because we want to make this high holidays in particular as special as we can. So tomorrow morning at 6:30, if you want to come by the parking lot, we're going to blow the shofar. And you're going to hear the tekiah. The tekiah is our sound of hope. And we've been through shavarim, we've been broken, we have hurt, we have felt the pain of this pandemic. But tomorrow, all of America is going to hear a tekiah sounded. And that tekiah is going to say that this is going to come to an end. And it's going to come to an end, I hope and pray, with our community intact and strong and supporting one another. So I want to wish you a good Chodesh, a Chodesh Tov, as we look for the beginning of a month that leads us into a year that I pray will be a good year, a blessed year for all of us. So again, thank you for being with us, and I turn it back to you, Rena.
And I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to have a presentation with some PowerPoints as Helena talks. We're going to go through it, and if I time it right, I'll be very happy, but we're going to try it. So I'm just going to share my screen, and hopefully you all see it. And Helena is going to start talking.
Shalom, everybody. It's very good to see everyone, even to see your names if I don't see your faces. So a wise person once said, it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. Always plan ahead. Well, we have been working on that ark. Over these last three months, we've been carefully working with all the groups listed below, the superintendents from our public schools, a member of Merrick Belmore and Merrick Elementary School Boards, MJC Health and Safety Committees, guidelines from the CDC and New York State Department of Health, the clergy and the leadership at MJC, our school board, and Hebrew School Parent Survey results. Our goals are very clear. We want our children and their parents to know that they're part of a Jewish community that knows them and cares about them. We want to give them a full, rich learning opportunity where they can grow, be with friends, and most importantly, be safe. We want to offer families a time to learn and pray together, offer meaningful Shabbat and holiday experiences, and enrich their lives through wonderful Jewish learning. So for the month of Elul alone, that begins tomorrow morning with the shofar blown, the Jewish month before Rosh Hashanah, we are going to have many exciting Elul events. You should have received that listing by email either today or you may receive it tomorrow. And the offerings include a shofar blown online every day at 6 p.m. with Moranat or some surprise guests. If your children are shofar blowers, please text me or email me. The shofar will be blown except Saturdays because Shabbat ends too late. There's baking, more baking with Mrs. Thumb and Moramina, Torah Godly Plays with Mora Debbie, learning, experiencing with Rabbi Klein and Rabbi Dermer and me, and a virtual school Rosh Hashanah Seder on the first night of Rosh Hashanah, and virtual family services on both days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Now, for our school, unlike the public schools with their large numbers and multiple locations, we have the ability to be more flexible in our plans for the year, and we have varied options in place. In all our plans, our primary concerns are, 1, the health and safety of our students, their families, our teachers, and our staff. 2, offering top quality Jewish experience and education for our students and their families. And 3, taking on the challenges of this time to reinforce and build our Jewish community. The intended plan for our school is subject to final approval by the Merrick MJC Board of Directors and subject to a change of course based on conditions and government restrictions. However, school begins Monday, September 14th, and we start with everyone in small group virtual classes with 2 per week, with each child having 1 class on Mondays and 1 on Wednesdays. Our sincere hope is that once we have determined its safety, we will be able to begin having in-person classes with social distancing and when all other health and safety protocols are strictly observed. So again, on Monday, September 14th, students will have been assigned to be in small group virtual classes. Each student, except our GAN, K through K1, will be in 2 classes where he or she will have 1 class on Monday and 1 class on Wednesdays. Those classes will include, for each child, 1 Judaica class with a maximum of 5 to 7 students and 1 teacher. Judaica covers holidays, Torah, Israel values, etc. This class will meet for 1 hour each week. The children's second class is a Chavruta class with 1 to 4 students and 1 teacher. Chavruta is for Hebrew reading, conversation, and prayer. These classes will meet for 1/2 hour to 40 minutes each week. GAN students, that's our K1 GAN students at this time will meet once a week, either Mondays or Wednesdays, with the possibility of a Tuesday, depending on the requests of those registering. The classes will be scheduled for 40 to 45 minutes, and we will decide if there might be a second day, depending on how the classes evolve, the kids, and the parents. The time and day for each child, your child's schedule, will be given to you before school begins as soon as I have arranged the class groupings. Unlike the spring, Once your child has a schedule and one specific ID number for each of the 2 classes, that will not be changing. Unlike what we did in the spring, you and your child will know their schedule, and that will be set from the very beginning of school. The virtual classes will get to meet outdoors. So these virtual classes, these Judaica virtual classes, not the Hebrew classes, will get to meet outdoors at least once and hopefully more in the first week of school. This will happen as long as weather enables us to do so. And we have a special surprise for the beginning of the year. At the end of each group's first outdoor class, an ice cream truck will be there for the children, where they will choose their ice cream treat. Students with dairy, gluten, or other allergies will be told of their options in advance. The outdoor classes will comply with regulations established by the MJC Security and Safety Committee, and more details will be provided after we have formed our class groups. So within the first 2 weeks, every Judaica class and every GAN class will have a chance to meet outside for one class. And depending again on weather and circumstances, we will try to have more classes if we can. After the Jewish holidays, which end on October 11th, the school board will then meet and make a recommendation for the next step for the Hebrew school based on a review of infection rate in the community and New York State and the overall situation in public schools, after ongoing consultation with local superintendents, public school district board members, MJC Health and Safety Committee, etc. The school board will make a recommendation at that time, which will be discussed and approved by the MJC General Board. Should there be a recommendation of no change at that time, we will continue to reassess each and every subsequent month to determine what changes might be made as the year progresses. The choices to be determined after the holidays will be, 1, whether we will continue classes being virtual with outdoor classes when possible, or whether we will offer hybrid classes involving one in-person class each week for each child with a continuation of virtual Hebrew classes. Of course, should there be an end to the pandemic, the Hebrew school joyfully will return to all in-person classes. Should the school board and the general board determine that the Hebrew school can move to hybrid classes, A, parents will have a choice as to whether they wish to continue completely virtually or move their child into hybrid Judaica classes. B, everyone will continue their Chavruta, Hebrew reading, conversation, and prayer virtually. C, students will be assigned, those students who choose hybrid classes will be assigned classes on Mondays or Wednesdays, or depending on the number choosing this model, we may have assignments on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. Parents and students will have to understand the need for priority to be in assigning siblings to the same day of in-person classes. So as a result, assigning children with their friends to the in-person classes may be limited due to this need. Hybrid classes will be in person in the 5 to 6 larger rooms in the building only, with one class per grade in each room each day. I'll say that again. So hybrid classes will be in person in the 5 to 6 larger rooms in the building, like the sanctuary, the ballroom, CJL, etc., with one class per grade in each room each day. Students and teachers will be masked and seated 6 feet apart. Entry, exit, drop-off, pickup, and bathroom procedures will follow all the guidelines of the professionals in the MJC Health and Safety Committee. We are aware that there is a real concern that our students are coming from as many as 8 different schools, with 3 to 6 different classes per grade in these schools. Our students would be coming to us out of the protective pods that the public schools are working very hard to create in order to limit the exposure to COVID-19. We will continue to monitor the situation carefully, watching and seeing how things develop, understanding that creating new groups in person outside of public school could put more children at risk. Regarding our virtual classes, what I especially want you to know, and this is really important because I know the circumstances in the spring. So what we especially want you to know is how incredibly different our virtual experiences are going to be from the spring, when in the blink of an eye, Our entire school had to construct online education in response to the pandemic in a week and a half. It is so different now in that faculty have experienced virtual teaching and have been working and training, as Rabbi Klein said, in state-of-the-art virtual platforms all summer. Faculty are planning and working with me to develop each and every single session to optimize our students' learning. They will use the smaller class sizes to build strong connections between the teachers and the students and among the students themselves in each group. The curriculum that we will be using has been designed specifically for virtual learning. Smaller class sizes will allow teachers the flexibility of creating optimum educational experiences. In addition, students will be placed to learn with 1, 2, or 3 friends and with like-minded learners. The teachers and the students will be able to use their time together more productively because of the similar learning styles of the children in each group, in each small group, and can engage in these smaller groups with meaningful personal learning experiences. This is actually a great opportunity for our children to feel a personal connection to the Jewish community with really customized learning. We want our students to have positive and exciting learning virtually so that when they can come back into the building, their interests and knowledge will have been enriched by their experiences this fall. Another wise person once said, "Tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today." We are preparing for tomorrow with wonderful opportunities and are excited for what we can do with our students' education today. Registration opens tomorrow morning, and I'm beginning to arrange the student groups right away. The sooner that I have your child's name registered, the sooner I will be able to put him or her in the right group and make the best matches. You will find the link to open your Hebrew school registration on our website at merrickjc.org. Now, so that we can continue our planning with a better understanding of our enrollment, there will be a $100 early registration scholarship funded by Rabbi Klein's Jewish Family Institute. This will be provided to everyone who registers by September 3rd. That way we'll be able to have a better picture and be able to make our groups more efficiently and better for each child. As you're completing your registration, please be sure to complete your emergency allergy permission slip information and answer all the questions. This is a new system for the synagogue, and your old registration will not transfer to the new one automatically. But this will now hold from year to year. Be sure to put in the request for your child's placement. That will be at the end of your registration. List in order of your preference, like I ask every year, 3 friends with whom your child would like to be placed. I guarantee that your child will be with one of those names. And of course, I'll call you if there's any problem with that. I hope to place students with 2 or 3 friends if it is possible, and most importantly, if they work well together. I can promise you that I have been and will continue to be working with the teachers every single day to make certain that the virtual learning is personalized, incredibly engaging, and valuable. I've worked many years to create a unique, warm, and exciting Hebrew school journey for our children, and I'm asking you to work with me, support us, our teachers, me, and our children in these challenging circumstances. I am looking forward to sharing this wonderful and exciting journey with you all. Whatever path we take, our students' learning and Jewish experience is our priority. And now I know Rabbi Dermer has some thoughts that he would like to share with you. Thank you all.
Before Rabbi Dermer speaks, this is probably a good time while you're just trying to digest everything that Maura Helena said to put any questions that you might have in our chat. So as soon as Rabbi Derma completes, we'll be able to, I should say finishes, we'll be able to start answering questions. Thanks so much. And thank you, Maura Helena.
Thank you, Rena.
Go ahead. Oh, you muted yourself again. You should be able to unmute.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you all, and Thank you, Lena, for unmuting me. Rabbi Klein, Mora Helena, shalom, everyone. I'm going to keep my words very brief this evening, but I just want to say the plan that Helena just presented, that we all just saw, as Rabbi Klein mentioned, is the result of so many hours of work and long nights of discussion, a lot of details. But underneath all of those details, what I hope you also saw and what I hope you're also feeling this evening on this call is the love, the deep love that we have for all of you and for sharing the beauty and the richness of our heritage, of our Torah with all of you. There's no question a lot will be different this year. A lot of changes are being made and considered and thought about. But our core commitments as Jewish educators have not changed even one iota and will never change. We will continue to do everything we possibly can, everything in our power to bring you, your families, and your children closer to our Torah and to a love of their Jewish heritage. And we're going to do that in ways this year that have required a lot of creativity, but we know will be memorable and rich with meaning and connection, and of course, safe as well. In order for all of this to work, we simply ask that you'll continue to work with us, that you'll help us to know what you're going through, that you'll help us to know what you need so that we can be in conversation. And when we work together, I know that we'll make this a year in which learning, connection, and a love of Judaism are going to bring blessing into a world that's in need. So we look forward, on that note, to hearing your thoughts, to hearing your questions, to sharing this time with you. And we know that with so many other info sessions going on this week, it's a commitment of time. And so we thank you for that as well.
Thank you, Rabbi Derma. Thank you, Rabbi Klein and Mora Helena. So I'm going to start with the questions. I'm trying to group them together, so bear with me. But the first question, Mora Helena, is what is the tuition?
So tuition is, I believe it's $9.25 or $9.35.
So
Less.
Howie Siegel is on the call.
Howie.
Howie, I'm going to unmute you. Howie, are you still with us? Thanks, Howie.
I am with you. Hi.
Great. So we're looking for tuition, please.
The best of my recollection, it's $9.25 for the first child.
And then I know it's $700 for the second child and $500 for the third. And for GAN, it's $350. And for those who are coming in from their first year of GAN from the JCC, it is $50 for supplies. And so it's $9.25 less the $100 if you register early. Thank you, Rabbi Klein.
While you're on the topic with GAN, do you know what day and time GAN classes will be?
Every year with GAN, we always ask the parents, do they want, what's their first choice? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes Thursday. So it's just going to depend on the parents. Generally, what we like to do is try to keep it on Mondays and Wednesdays. But if there are more, then in our small groups of 5, 6 children, then we would go to Tuesdays and then after that to Thursdays. So when you're applying for GAN, just put in your request for what's your first choice, second choice, and third choice.
So if there's a request for Tuesday GAN class, there potentially could be one.
Yes.
Great. Will all the kids be the same time on Monday, Wednesday, or different start times?
There will be, because there's so many different groups. So for instance, each Judaica teacher on Monday and Wednesday will have 2 classes, 2 Judaica groupings. So that's 2 groups of 6. And each Havruta teacher will have as many as 3 or 4 groupings. So it will not be at the same time. If you have one device in your house And so your child will need to share that device. When you should email me and say, please make sure my children have classes at different times because these are small groups. And if you prefer that your children, siblings have classes at the same time, let me know that as well, because that is certainly possible. No, it won't always be possible, but as best I can, I would try to be able to accommodate people.
Maura Helena, has there been any determination about Hebrew High School for 8th grade and up?
8th grade and up is, we have, yes, we have, and that is coming out shortly. So the Buy It is a combination of 4 synagogues working together. So this summer, with everybody working so hard for their elementary schools, the high schools are just a few weeks behind. So that's coming out very shortly, but we do have plans, absolutely. We have classes that are already planned, teachers that are already hired. So yes, there are absolutely programs for 7th through 12th graders.
And where outside would the outdoor sessions be located?
One of the reasons why we can't have as many kids outside, class groups, because they're small groups outside as we would like, is because we would only want to have it, our groupings on the grass. We wouldn't want to have people in the parking lot. So that's where the groups would be meeting. So we figure probably about 6 Judaica groups a day will meet on the grass. And I have to go and measure and set out the chairs, because obviously the kids would not be able to, unfortunately, to run around. They might be able to stand up in their groups. We'll have to see, we have to really talk with health and safety. But so I think at least 6 groups would be meeting each day. So it means that one Judaica group, your child, their Judaica group, probably in the first 2 weeks of school would have 1 outdoor class session, maybe 2, just depending on how many groups we can fit on the grass.
And so those children, sorry.
And then the next 2 weeks, it would be another. So figure in 4 weeks of time, if the weather holds up, if it's not raining, if it's not too cold, if it's not too hot, you might assume that you'd have 2 outdoor classes in 2 weeks.
And would the children would those children be required to wear masks? And
yes,
again, they would be socially distanced based on what you said about measuring.
yes.
Okay, thank you. How long will phase 1 be?
So phase 1 is, so we're having an evaluation as soon as the holidays are over in mid-October. Assume that by the time the school board meets and makes a decision and then gets the approval of the general board, I would say certainly there won't be a decision until the end of October, just because it takes time to have these meetings. So that would be phase 1. So it may continue as is, just depending on health, safety, responses of the public schools, responses of our research, and what's happening with the virus.
And will it be possible to continue doing virtual when phase 2 starts? Is there an option to continue doing virtual?
It's funny, we hadn't, when it's completely safe, in other words, when we're going back into our regular classes, is that what the question? So if the question is,
yes,
let's say
the
pandemic
is back in class.
Right.
Can you
if
say
the pandemic is, so there's 2 things. One, if it is in-person classes during the pandemic, but safe enough that we feel it's safe enough to have these in-person classes, you may choose to continue virtual for as long as the pandemic is there. After, that's something that we're going to have to really evaluate. We'll have to see how. I know there is another school on Long Island that does have options when there's no pandemic for virtual, all virtual, part virtual. So we would have to see. It's something that we will evaluate and see how things go, see what parents and children decide.
Will GON have outdoor meetings as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And when will the families find out which days their children will be going?
That's why I encourage you to please, please, please register quickly, because the sooner you register, the sooner I will be able to make groups. Right now, the the deadline for the $100 off of school is September 3rd. So, which means that I really would not be able to start making, I will start grouping as soon as I get groups, but I really won't be able to really make the groups until I get everyone. So the sooner, the better. Hopefully the week before school starts. So figure we start on September 14th, figure September 9th. I hope I would be able to give you definite answers. And if you know, again, if you know that, for instance, your best day is Monday, and so you want an hour-long class on Mondays, or your best day for an hour-long class is Wednesdays, again, I can't promise, but I will do my best to accommodate you. So please, if there's no place to put that in your registration, which there may not be, just email me.
I just want to tell everybody that I do have verification on those tuition numbers. So it is $925, $700 for the second child, and Helena for the third child was $500. So those numbers have been verified. Thank you to Jill Burns, our administrative director.
Also for incoming vet students, that means incoming second graders, as in every year, there's a continuation of that incoming second graders have tuition at half price. So tuition for incoming second graders is, I think it's $462.25 for the entire year.
More Helena, once classes move to in-person, will the classes extend longer than the 45 minutes?
In other words, once we're in the hybrid versus, I'll just assume that the question is the hybrid. I think that from everything based on cleaning, we can only have one session per day. So in other words, to clean the ballroom or the sanctuary or the Center for Jewish Life would not allow for there to be two classes. So we would assume an hour-long class. And again, it really depends on the kids. You know, it might be hard for them to sit masked, not to be able to get up and run around. You know, so we're hoping for hour-long classes once the classes are in person.
Is there a way to ensure that siblings will have virtual class at the same time so that it's easier for parents to manage their schedule?
As best I can. So again, if there's no place in registration, and again, there may not be, please send me an email if that is important to you. And if it's important to you to have your siblings not have the same times, please let me know that as well, because if they have to share devices. So again, I can't guarantee that I will be able to do that. It depends on groupings. It depends on, you know, who you choose to be with, and it's going to be a lot of logistics. So if I want to put these 5 children together, and the only time that I can get these 5 children together is from 5 to 6 on Monday, but you've asked to be with those 5 children, and you've asked for Wednesday, I might have to put you with Monday. So again, you'll have to let me know what is your priority when you make those requests. Okay.
So I know that you touched on this before, but there's a lot of questions asking if remote learning will be an option for the entire school year, A and B, even if they don't want to do the outdoor classes. So can you just touch on that again, please? Because those questions are being asked again and again, even though you touched on it.
Yes. Okay. So in terms of, I think, you know, it's interesting. We haven't addressed if the pandemic ends and we're back in in-person classes. I think it's going to depend on staffing, because let's say the pandemic ends and in March we're able to go back to in-person classes. We have teachers who are presently going to be teaching more than their 4 hours that they're paid for. So if they're teaching in-person classes, they'll be teaching 4 hours. And then to have a continuation of virtual learning this year, once we're back in in-person classes, might be difficult. So, you know, obviously, if things are working really well and people really love the small, intimate, in-person classes, which I can understand. We'll just try to work with you as best we can. You know, happily, we have a large number of our teachers who are doing Judaica and Chavruta or just Chavruta. So we might have the flexibility that we can do that, but I don't want to promise that. No, I think if we're back in person, I think we'll be totally in person. You know, if the pandemic is over, if the pandemic is continuing in any way, then people will always have the option for virtual. Even if people are saying, even if the majority of our students are saying we want in-person learning and we have the time and space for them, but if the pandemic is still in existence, absolutely there will be the option for virtual learning.
Will there be busing from the elementary schools?
As far as I know, we do not know if there will be. If we have in-person learning. From what we're hearing, you know, we just don't know, because the JCC, as you can imagine, is just trying to figure out how to have their nursery school open and successful. And in terms of social distancing on buses, you know, we have 60 children who were last year and 80 children the year before on the buses. We have a bus of 44 kids. So it would have to be approved by our health and safety committee to make sure that they feel that it's safe enough. From what we're seeing from the Merrick Public Schools, it did not seem that the busing in the public schools was safe. I really am not an expert on that. That's my unexpert opinion based on the Merrick meeting on Monday night. So don't quote me on that. But so basically we would just have to make sure that it was safe, and there's an option. We don't know that yet. So now, you don't have to worry about that.
I'm going to add that the JCC right now is not busing their preschoolers. They're not going to have busing for their preschoolers. So just as a FYI. Will there be any?
So if they're not busing their preschoolers, as of now, there is no busing.
I mean, that could change if
Right.
the virus changes, but will there be any of the Sunday program that is usually done with families?
That would be wonderful if people would like Sunday programs. We'd love that. And absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm smiling. How will pick up and drop off work?
So when and if we have in-person classes, pick up and drop off will be very carefully scripted with the help of our health and safety committee. We have a month to plan that. We have 4 weeks to plan that, if that were to happen. And so it will be very, very carefully scripted. And we will let you know that before there's any possibility of in-person classes, so you can make your choices.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
if I
Sandra.
can just add to that, we're working on the guidelines now, and it will be approved by the school board, and then it will go to health and safety for their approval. And as Helena said, we will get that out to everybody before the time that it's needed.
There's certainly one thing that people would have to bear in mind. It will be very, very important for parents to plan, if they're planning on in-person classes, for timely dropping off and picking up. That it won't be the kind of thing where, that it will be so carefully scripted, so it'll be very important for you. If it's that hour, you can go to CVS, but you're not going to be able to go to Roosevelt Field. Not that Roosevelt Field is necessarily open.
So this is actually a similar question. Can there be a virtual only Judea group? And what happens if we do not want to send the kids in for outdoor Judaica classes?
If you do not want, obviously, if you do not want to send your child to the outdoor Judaica classes, you do not have to. And we will have, most likely, we'll just set up a separate time where the teacher will cover the class. So let's say if there are 6 children in the class and 4 of them want to be outside, for those those times and 2 of them don't, then the teacher will meet with those 2 children separately.
Will there be security for the outdoor classes, Maura Helena?
Absolutely. That's already been arranged.
Will there be a meeting or information for upcoming bar and bat mitzvahs for fall 2020, spring 2021?
Rabbi Klein, Rabbi Dermer? Yes, there will be.
Of course, you know, we have met, I know I've met, I believe, through most of the November B'nai Mitzvah individually. And so the next step is to begin looking forward into December and beyond. So there are meetings going on all the time, going over individually with every family, every detail, every protocol, every issue concerning the bar and bat mitzvah. I mean, I think we have found that handling it individually is far more successful to us, far more productive, even though it's far more time consuming than the mass meeting. You know, I think that, you know, that's the way we'll probably continue. Between the 2 of us, we're covering every family at least 4 times. So I think there's ample opportunity for everybody to learn everything that's needed to be known about the bar and bat mitzvah. Rabbi Durham, anything you want to add?
Yeah, just to clarify the purpose of these meetings, you know, in addition to covering the details of the simcha of the event, the purpose really is to get into the meaning of the day and to begin working on the speech that your bar bat mitzvah will be giving, and to learn a little bit more about the meaning and the importance of the prayers that they're chanting. If you haven't heard from us and you'd like to get started with that work, please do reach out. Otherwise, we'll be reaching out to you.
Rabbi Klein, I have a question for you. Is it $100 off per child or per family for registration?
It's per child. Per child.
Thank you, Rabbi Klein.
You're welcome. And I prefer to look at it as an educational scholarship for those who choose to let us know in a timely way that they're registering. So, and I'm grateful that I have, through the educational fund, the Klein Institute, the money's available to make this gesture to the members of our community.
If the pandemic is over, Baruch Hashem, would masks and lack of being near humans still be in place, or would virtual be an option if one knows that won't work for their child? You know, may the person who asked that question, I'm not understanding the second part about would virtual be an option. If not being in a classroom would still be virtual. I think Maura Helena did say that they would visit that if the pandemic was over, if there would still be virtual. Is that correct, Maura Helena?
Right.
And the person who asked that question, if that's what you're asking, can you just give me a high sign in the chat box?
And obviously, if the pandemic is over, we would not have masks and we would not have to have social distancing as long as we get our health experts tell us the pandemic is over. We don't have to, sorry, that's my dog squeaking her toy. Folks, we need to take Lexi out of here. They don't hear me. As long as the pandemic is over and the health experts are telling us that it's okay to be without masks and social distancing, we will jump on that, as long as it's safe.
Approximately how many students are in a class, in a classroom setting, in an on-site setting?
Yeah, in a classroom setting in Judaica classes between 12 and 15, sometimes rarely 16, but usually 12 and 15. And in the smaller Chavruta classes, anywhere from 1 to, usually they're around 6 or between 6 and 8. Some as small as 2 and 3, some as large as 10.
Okay, so now I have some more tuition questions. is the tuition for incoming second graders $462.25, which Jill again has confirmed. For all second graders A, and Howie, I may need you for this, so I'm going to unmute you. And B is the $100 discount applied to second graders as well. So Rabbi Klein, I unmuted you.
Look, it applies to everybody. I'm just happy that we're able to offer this scholarship, and it comes with no stipulations. It is given generously, wholeheartedly, in the hope that people in the community, our people will in some small measure be helped by it. And so I don't care if you're second grader, third grader, whatever it is, you register and you help Mora Helena to complete this process, then you have the scholarship. And I just want to say one thing. You know, we don't have a school where we have 5-10 people working on what Mora Helena is going to do. She has taken upon herself really a massive undertaking to try and slot our children into these small groups, taking into consideration everyone's issues. It's a monumental challenge. So please, work with her, register, give her as much lead time as is possible, because our only intention here is to make certain that we prepare as well as we can, as soon as we can, for the beginning of the school year. So yes, second grader, you get the normal tuition adjustment plus $100 scholarship from the Klein Institute.
Howie Siegel, can you answer the question about the second grade tuition? Is it $462.25 for all second graders or just new students?
I believe it's $462.50.
Oh, 462.
It's for all.
No.
It's 50% for the first year for a second grader. Correct.
Right. And okay, back to Mora Helena. What will the hybrid schedule look like? 1 day a week for 1 hour? Oh, sorry. You should be able to unmute.
Yes. Okay. So yes, it'll be 1 day a week for 1 hour, and that will be Judaica, and the virtual will continue for Hebrew. So for the Hebrew conversation, prayer, and reading. So what it would mean is, for instance, the limitations are that we only have 6 rooms that are, our rooms are small. They're delicious and they're warm, but being warm is not good in a pandemic. So the only rooms that we can have classes in are the sanctuary, the ballroom, assuming the ballroom is done in time, which we are counting on that it will be. The Simcha room, we cannot use that room because the acoustics there are terrible. So it's the ballroom, the sanctuary, the Center for Jewish Life, the old library, now the beautiful youth lounge. Thank you, Gail Benno and team. And the bike room. It's possible we'll be able, the 6th possibility is room 12 upstairs, which is a large room. And we might be able to have 10 students in there. So because we have only 6 rooms, we will have 1 class from each grade for each day. So we anticipate, based on the parent survey, that most parents did not want a class on Sunday because we thought that was an option. So if we do have in-person classes, it would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And if we have more than enough students, that it might have to be on Sunday, but most likely it would just be those 4 days for 1 hour each.
I'd like to share some positive feedback. Great job with the outdoor classes. The Merrick School should take ideas from you. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. I truly feel that you are all concerned about the health and safety of everyone, children, teachers, staff, and families. So we thank you for positive comments. because this really has been many, many hours of planning. And while it's a labor of love, there's so much to consider, so we thank you. Back to GON. Maura Helena,
Yes.
GON tuition, may you repeat it again and where to sign up? Is it the website?
So go to the merrickjc.org, and the and GON tuition is $350. That's it for the year. If you are a first year in GON JCC graduate, then the only charge is the supply fee of that $350, and so it's $50 for the year. That is only people who've graduated this past year from the JCC. If you were in the JCC for 2 years and did not come this past year, unfortunately, that does not apply to you. But it is only $350.
Thank you to the person who I asked to verify their question, and thank you for your comments. I understand, and thank you. Will temperature be taken upon entering the building?
Absolutely, and more. Michelle Goldenberg, who's the head of our health and safety committee. Again, we are going to be having many issues of protocol. It's certainly hand washing, temperature taken, very careful coming in and coming out. Places to walk and not walk, bathroom, all will be very carefully scripted. So Michelle is nodding her head.
Thank you, Michelle. Will the classes be organized by elementary schools?
No. No, we never have done that. And I guess that is certainly an issue in the time of pandemic. But we also know that we would not be able to keep kids in their same pods, So, one of our strengths is always in trying to get kids to get to know each other. So, but in this particular case, what I'm hoping is that, for instance, if there's a class of 6 in Judaica, 3 kids may be good friends and another 3 kids will be good friends and they'll get to know each other. So we try, if it's at all possible, to mix and match the kids so that by the time they leave Hebrew school, they're a sense of community, not a Lakeside, Birch, Chatterton, Winthrop, Reinhardt child. Shore Road, don't want to leave you out. Sawmill, don't want to leave you out either.
Thank you. What about heaters for the outdoor classes?
What about heaters for the outdoor
Heaters,
classes?
yes.
I can't imagine that it was something that would be effective for a group of 6 children, with extension cords and having at least 6 different groups and having large enough heaters. I can't imagine that would be effective.
But somebody asked if they still don't understand, they need to know how many hours per week in person, how many hours a week virtual.
Okay, so we are beginning, everything is virtual. The Judaica classes are virtual and the Hebrew classes the Chavruta classes are virtual. So everything is virtual. The outdoor classes are basically bonuses. We want the kids to be able to see each other in person. We want them to meet their teachers in person. But those classes are really dependent on the weather and on the groupings and how many children are willing to have classes outside. So I would say, if you want to say, is the school virtual for the first 5 weeks? It's virtual. And as much as we can, within reason, and making sure everybody gets their ice cream, for sure, we will make sure that we will have as many outdoor classes within reason, and as long as it's safe and reasonable for the parents, children, and teachers.
Great, so I'm getting a lot of questions about registration. Jill, I'm gonna unmute you if I can find you. I got you.
I should be
Yep.
unmuted. Am I good?
Yep, you're good. So can you explain just about registration?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. So tomorrow morning when I send out an email, in the email will be a link to click on to complete your registration. You will also find in your account, there's a list of things on the right that you can do. And there is one thing that will say enroll to school now. So you can either use the email and click on the link, or if you log into your account, you will see the enroll to school now. If you have not logged into your account yet and you'd like to, just send me an email and I will send you a link to do that.
And Jill, where's the best place to find your email?
My email is admindirector@merrickjc.org. admindirector@merrickjc.org.
Thank you. So I'm going to wrap this up, but if you have any other questions, I would say that your best is to email it to Helena or to Sandra Wegman. Sandra, do you want to share your email address? Oop, but I'll unmute you.
I did.
Okay, great.
Sure. It's S.E. Wegman, S as in Sandra, at optonline.net.
And of course, my email, I think everyone knows, principal, P-A-L, in principal, @merrickjc.org.
So I want to thank everyone. I want to close with one comment that we had two comments. One said, thank you for the excellent communication, but I want to close with a different comment. But I want to thank both our rabbis, Klein and Derma, Ms. Sandra Wegman and Howie Siegel, for filling us in where we needed that information, and also Jill Burns. And I want to read this comment, and I think it will make Maura Helena's evening. Maura Helena is a fabulous and dedicated principal. The entire teaching staff are all wonderful. You don't give yourself enough credit. Your spring Zoom classes were put together very quickly and efficiently. I know that your fall classes will be just as great. So I see Rabbi Derma is giving a round of applause, and I see some other people are as well. I've seen a sample of some of the classes, and they are really pretty phenomenal. I think our students will be very engaged by them. So we do want to thank you all for coming, but if you do have any other questions, I would suggest that Maura Helena is the best, and people are agreeing. So this is all good.
Thank you all. It's wonderful to have you all.
We were going to hire her from the first phone call with her, to tell you the truth. Howard Teagle should give me a heads up on that one. We agreed. So we want to thank you all, and we will continue to work through this as the conditions change, and hopefully we will see an end to this time. But we're here not just as the Hebrew School, but as the synagogue as well, to support you. Howard, is there anything that you want to add? As I said that about the synagogue supporting?
Oh, thanks, Rena. I'm glad that you offered me that opportunity. I think that everybody can understand and feel the incredible preparation and passion and incredible concern for the educational outcomes. And of course, keeping as the paramount factor the safety and health of your children, your families, the teachers, and of course, our whole community. And so, indeed, as has been alluded to, there is an extraordinarily strong preparation, passion, and commitment of Helena, of the entire faculty, the clergy, the school board, and the synagogue board of directors, to make sure that we have the best outcome that we possibly can for everybody in the most safe and helpful way possible. So thanks again, everybody, for reaching out. And let me offer my email address as well if you want to connect with me. It's HTIEGEL@merrickjc.org. But then again, all you need to do is reply to the one of many emails I send out every week to everybody.
Somebody asked if we can email the presentation. It will be on the YouTube channel as soon as I get it to Rabbi Derma. Take me a minute or two, but my my grown son is here, so it'll probably be a little bit faster. And so you'll be able to watch the presentation on the YouTube channel.
We should also email the deck.
Yeah, yeah. We'll be able to do that, Jill, with the registration form. We should be able to do that. We'll coordinate that with Rabbi Derma. And we also want to thank Mrs. Thumb for attending tonight as well. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback that you were here, Mrs. Thumb, so thank you for being here. Is she here?
Yes.
She's here. She might be muted.
She hears you. She's
Okay, I don't see her. So thank you all, and we're looking forward to a successful start. And I'll give you my email address as well in case you have any questions. It's Rena, R-E-N-A, @merrickjc.org. So thank you all.
Thank you, Rena. And
thank you
everybody.
all for attending.
Yes.